We have some breaking news. In response to the Trump administration's order effectively banning all DEI at the government level, the United States Air Force has also temporarily removed training courses that included historical videos about the Tuskegee Airmen, as well as the Women's Air Force Service Pilot, also known as WASPs. Let's get into it. Before we delve in, welcome. My name is Politics with NJ. I talk about these kinds of things, specifically executive orders and actions that the Trump administration is going to be doing during its first 100 days. If you want to stay up to date, please feel free to give me a follow and check out my latest YouTube video linked in my bio. Let's hop into it. Now, as I stated earlier, this is in response to the executive order signed by the Trump administration earlier last week on Monday that essentially said that DEI at the federal government level has to be eradicated. And this includes all types of training that are considered woke ideology, DEI, or CRT, which is critical race theory. This has essentially caused a lot of backlash in response to these orders, citing that this is an effective removal of the very important history that took place at the United States Air Force, removing any kind of indication regarding to the Tuskegee Airmen, which was the first squadron of African-American males who serve in the United States Air Force, and the Women Air Force Service Pilots, the first ever women's regiment to serve also in the United States Air Force. I will be keeping an eye on this, so if you want to stay up to date, please feel free to give me a follow and check out some of the other videos on my page. If you want to stay up to date, check out some of the links in my bio as well. Politics with NJ, welcome, and I hope to see you here again. Bye.
Trump has officially banned any DEI information from training videos of the United States Air Force. This includes the Tuskegee Airmen of World War II and the Women Air Force Pilots of World War II. Both have remarkable stories behind them. The Tuskegee Airmen were the escorts of the bombers in World War II. They escorted them along, keeping the bomber pilots safe. They were later referred to as the Red Tail Angels by these bombers, who didn't recognize them at first. They had no idea who these great pilots were that were keeping them safe. They also had the least amount of casualties or losses during the war. The Women Air Force Pilots, which that in itself doesn't sound correct to have during World War II timing, but they took the bombers and transported them to the front lines so the pilots on the front lines could keep doing their jobs without pausing. That's a quick summary. And we should not erase this from our military history. We need to continue to load as much information about any DEI military information and other DEI history that's been removed or trying to be removed from the United States history. If it's not loaded here, we will load it to other platforms. We will not be silenced. Remember, hold your ground.
Donald Trump has just erased black history from the U.S. Air Force, banning the teaching about the Tuskegee Airmen, a famous group of African-American pilots and other support teams who helped fight the Nazis in Europe in World War II. And now the Air Force has to remove them from the curriculum because Trump's new orders against diversity say we can't teach that to our soldiers because it's bad for them. But you know what? I can teach you about it, and I will. So before World War II, the military was segregated, right? Blacks and whites could not fight alongside each other. Specifically, blacks were also not allowed to be pilots because, listen to this, the Air Force had determined, the Army War College actually had determined that African Americans lacked the courage and fortitude to fly planes, right? Listen to this, the all-black 332nd Fighter Group based at Tuskegee Army Airfield in Alabama shattered the race barrier. The unit had as many as 14,000 airmen, 1,000 of them pilots. They flew 15,533 sorties, so in other words, like air attacks, over Europe during World War II. 96 distinguished flying crosses, 3 presidential unit citations, etc. These were famous Americans. They were the greatest generation. They were our World War II heroes, and they were black. And now you will never hear about them in the U.S. military because Donald Trump just erased them from history. And by the way, final point here for anybody who says what the difference is between Democrats and Republicans on race and how it doesn't matter who you vote for. Yeah, it matters.
Looks like Trump's racism has hit the Air Force. Trump orders the Air Force to remove a video highlighting the Tuskegee airmen and women who helped win World War II. His reason? Apparently diversity is just too much for the military to handle, because nothing screams combat ready like banning history lessons. Then we've got Republican Senator Katie Britt from Alabama. Remember her? She was the scary one on the interview last year. She must have gotten whiplash from backpedaling so fast, claiming Trump deeply respects the Tuskegee Airmen. Sure, that's like somebody punching you in the face and then offering you an ice pack. See, I care. You talk about Pete Hegseth for a second, the new Secretary of Defense. This guy's out here with a record of bigotry and skepticism about women in expanded military roles, but he's going to be the one that restores the video, like he's actually doing something for anybody. You don't get credit for helping fix the thing you broke, Pete. Trump's entire career has been built on opposing progress. You know that, right? He's out here gutting diversity programs like it's his job to erase the last 70 years. Now he's asking federal employees to snitch on each other for advancing civil rights. What are we doing here? Is this the Red Scare all over again? Or are we just turning the government into a giant HR department for racists? You absolutely can't honor these heroes while undermining everything that they stood for. That's like writing a love letter to Rosa Parks while you drive a bus off a cliff full of people. So congrats, Trump. You've proven once again that chaos and confusion are your actual leadership styles. Malicious compliance? No, Senator Britt. It's just malice.
So I'm sure you have all heard about the Air Force taking out the Tuskegee Airmen and the Women's Air Force service pilots, which was the WASPs, out of their training videos. Now, this was a DEI course that was given to all their service members that go through their basic training. Now, the reason they took that out was to comply with the Donald Trump's crackdown on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And to make sure I read this correctly, what the Air Force says was, we will fully execute and implement all directives outlined in the executive order issued by the president, ensuring that they will be carried out with the utmost professionalism, efficiency, and in alignment with the national security objectives. Folks, let me ask this. If you take those DEI courses out, is there going to be a place where you can put them back in? So you can see the significant contributions that the Tuskegee Airmen, with such valor, contributed to our armed forces, as well as to the women that learned to fly and to ferry these aircrafts during World War II. Is there going to be a place where we're going to be able to talk about them and their significant contributions? Or are we somehow going to hide them so we don't want to talk about them? We don't want to bring focus on them, because that now, with their DEI initiatives, trying to sweep under the rug anything and everything that we have contributed. This is coming from a guy who has never known a day of selfless military service in his life. So I'm asking you to share, to like, to follow me, and to let's continue this discussion.
Good morning. By now you have seen how the Air Force has removed the Tuskegee Airmen materials from their recruitment package. That's fine, whatever. That's their prerogative. That's the directive that they were given, that they're comfortable with, carrying out. Cool, whatever. There is a Tuskegee Airmen National Historical Museum in the city of Detroit. And they are a 501c3 organization. If you have a child, anyone who is under 18 can learn how to become a pilot, can learn how to fly drones, get licensed to fly drones. They have a rocket club. What else do they have? It's all free for children. All you have to do is get there. If you are an adult who wants to make a new career pathway, you can pay to learn these things too. Okay, they also are an operational repository of the Tuskegee Airmen history. They have actual aircrafts that were flown by the Tuskegee Airmen in that museum. They go out and they find aircrafts that were previously lost or had been lost, and they restore them. They teach the youth how to do that. So, all right, y'all think y'all can erase Tuskegee Airmen history? You can't. You can't. And for those of you who are up in arms, hey, set that aside. Go donate to the National Tuskegee Airmen Museum. Okay? Everything that they do for the youth is free. But their time, their labor, the materials that they use, those are not free. So, don't be upset. Go donate to the National Tuskegee Airmen Museum. Okay? All right.